Yo, YouTube, subscribe, rate, review. Ask a question, leave a comment. We see it all, we read it all. Ask me a question, you got a request, you got a rant request. You like something, you don't like something, leave a comment in the comments and I will do my best to respond. Boom, have no fear, the I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast is here. Biggity boom, have no fear, the I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast is in the place to be. Bronny James. Now is your time to shine. The Lakers are the walking wounded. Your father almost caught an assault charge the other day on Stephen A. Smith. Let's keep your father out of jail. Let's see if you are really cut out to be in the NBA. They're all hurt. They're all hobbled. You got 2 weeks to show and prove. You got 2 weeks to show and prove if you actually deserve to be in the NBA. Plus, they're throwing him out of Columbia University. They're not just throwing him out of the university. They're tossing him out of the country. And I like it. I like it a lot. All that and more in a high-flying, fully disruptive, plus a TSA incident coming back into the United States from Edmonton on a brand new banging I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast coming up right now. Miles Jordan, a.k.a. the Bleach Brothers, a.k.a. the Dust Brothers. Start this puppy off with something real nice. Start this puppy off with something real loud. But most importantly, start this I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast off with something real funky. It's I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast. Look-a-dee. Let's go, baby.
I Am Rapaport Podcast.
Boom, have no fear, the I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast is here. Biggity boom. Oh, yeah. Have no fear, the I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast is in the place to be. 1, 2, 3, as it is plain to see. I am Michael Rapaport. This is the I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast. Hope everybody's feeling real good. Hope everybody's feeling real safe. Hope everybody's feeling real sane. I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast coming live and direct from New York City, and I am happy to be back. I want to first give a sincere shout out to all of the people that came to all 5 of my shows in Edmonton. I had a fantastic time. The crowds were awesome. They were 5 of the best shows I've ever had. So I want to do that off the top. I'm going to tell you about Edmonton, tell you about my TSA beef in Edmonton, talk about a bunch of things. I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast in the place to be. If you've never listened to the I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast, welcome. If you've never watched the I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast, you can watch the I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast on my YouTube channel at Michael Rapaport, at Michael Rapaport. Subscribe, rate, review, sign up for all the alerts. Do what you do on YouTube. If you're just listening to the I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast, yeah, you can watch it. Also, you could watch and listen on YouTube. You could do it all. My name is Michael Rapaport, a.k.a. the Gringo Mandingo, a.k.a. the Sultan of Sniff, a.k.a. the Inflamed Ashkenazi, a.k.a. the Gringo Mandingo, a.k.a. the Disruptive Warrior. Hiya! Hiya! I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast coming live and direct from New York City. But sincerely, I had a great shows. Why were they great? The crowds were just so cool, man. These crowds were just there. They were chill. They had fun. There was one night with a bunch of a drunk section over there to the right of me, which is par for the course on a Friday second show. But it was still an excellent show. So I really appreciate everybody that came out to the show. One dude said, Gringo Mandingo chased me, and the young shooter out, was in the place to be. And he said, Dingo. I was like, boom. If you see me live, all you got to do is say Dingo. You listen to the I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast, all you got to do is say Dingo. Let's just cut through the chase. That's a I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast nickname, the Gringo Mandingo. That's all I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast. You could say the Disruptive Warrior. You could say Mike Rap. But if you really want me to know that you listen to the podcast, you come to the show, I will always say what's up. I will always stop, chill, take a flick with you. I am performing in New York. I am performing in New York at the Gramercy Theater, April 19th. New York City at the Gramercy Theater, April 19th, which is a Saturday. I am performing in Canada, back in Montreal in May. But my next big show, I'm in Dallas. All tickets, all information for all the shows, I don't have it all on the top of the dome piece right now, is at michaelrapaportcomedy.com. michaelrapaportcomedy.com. But the 19th Gramercy Theater, it's going to be dope. In New York City in the spring, and it is a beautiful day. Spring is It's here. At least for now. We don't want any stepping back. We want only stepping forward with the weather. But like I said, I was in Edmonton. We made a humongous mistake staying at this mall. The club, the comic strip in Edmonton, is in a mall. And we made a huge, huge, huge mistake. It was like the Mall of America, but it was the Mall of West Edmonton. The Mall of America had way more charm than the Mall of West Edmonton. And it was, the best restaurant in there was the Little Spaghetti Factory, the old Spaghetti Factory, just to give you, and you know, it was tough being in the mall, but the shooter was there. We now call him Mr. Edmonton, AKA Mr. International. Dean Collins, AKA Deuce Collins, AKA Deuce Pacino, AKA Mr. Edmonton, AKA Dino Casino, AKA Mr. International. He took that away from Pitbull. He'll be back on the podcast later this week. And all the gear up, all the hype, all the protesting, all the low-level parliament members that said this, that, and the third was going to happen. I crossed the border like, what? I don't know. Maybe this woman has never seen Prison Break. But TSA people, border police, they rock with me. Agent Don Self, they rock with me in general, but they specifically like Prison Break. Agent Don Self. I believe he was a special agent Don Self. And you thought you were gonna ban me? You thought you were gonna bar me? I do the barring. So there was no incident. There was no protest. And I'm gonna tell you something. When these protesters call up a mall because there was threats at the mall, there was threats at the club. So I'm walking around like, you know, with my head on a swivel, as I should. I mean, I always walk around with my head on a swivel, but I was specifically walking around with my head on a swivel because I'm in Canada. And specifically walking around with my head on a swivel because I'm in Canada, and people are saying that this, that, and the third is going to happen. The clubs, you know, they're talking to my agent, they're talking to me, they got security on it. Nobody. And you know what it is? That's terrorism. When you call a club, when you call a mall and make threats, you're terrorizing the people at the mall. You're terrorizing the people that work at the club. And that's why I'm so disappointed about those shows that got canceled of mine in Michigan. These people, you want to protest? Protest. Do it legally and keep your hands to yourself. Do it legally and keep your hands to yourself. Got it? Knock yourself out. They terrorize the people at the mall, the West Edmonton Mall. They terrorize the people at the comic strip in the West Edmonton Mall. Everybody's all freaked out. And no one shows up. I don't know if it was because these pricks were too cheap to pay for parking. It's a mall. You got to pay $2, $3. You know, or you got to go in the mall and get yourself something from Lululemon or the candy shop. They had a Japanese cheesesteak factory. Listen, you got to pay to play, and you got to pay to protest if you're going to protest at the West Edmonton Mall. Nothing. No incident. Great shows. And I'm just getting tired of these people freaking everybody out. You ain't freaking me out. I told you what I was going to do in Philly, and I told you what I was going to do in Edmonton. And I know there ain't going to be no protesters showing up to see me in New York City. Not in my house. Not in my house. Born and raised here in New York City. New York Hospital. Google it. But it was a great time, great shows. I will tell you that when I was leaving Edmonton, going through security, it's like 5 in the morning, maybe 4:50 in the morning. And I did all the protocols. I took I had my microphone. I took my electronics out of my bag, took my toiletries out of my bag. I had a piece of paper. And I got priority seating. And I get whatever. I pay for all that. I go through the thing. Guy's like, oh, there's something in your pocket. I go, there's nothing in my pocket. He goes, oh, we're gonna check it. I go, fine. I'm tired. He starts checking me. He's checking me. He's like, turn around, checking me. He says, there's something in your pocket? There's nothing in my pocket. Checked in my pocket again. I had on a hoodie, had a piece of paper. Somebody left me a note, actually a really nice note. at the show. I go, oh, it's this paper. He goes, oh, okay. He's like annoyed or something. He goes, take off your sweatshirt. So I take off my sweatshirt and I have the paper in my hand. He goes, take the paper. I go, all right, I rip it because I'd already read it. I took a picture of it, put it in the garbage. I'm pissed off now. I'm getting annoyed because I'm like, my man, you checked me. You checked my luggage. I took my toiletries out of my bag, took my mics out of my bag. I have a piece of paper in my pocket. He goes, I have to check. I go, yeah? Go ahead. So I lean over like this. Like I put my hands up. He goes, you can put your hands on. I go, I prefer for them to be up. He starts patting me. And then he goes, I'm going to do your groin hair. I go, go ahead. I told you, go ahead. He goes, you want to do it here? Do you want to do it in private? I said, we could do it here. I got no problem with it. So I stick it out. Like I poke out my loaf. I'm in my jeans, but I'm like, you know, if you're going to give me a frisk, I don't want you to be the only one that's going to have a good time. I want to enjoy it also. Right? It's 5 a.m. I got nothing on me. I went through the beeper. There's nothing beeped. I had a piece of paper in my pocket. You want to give me the full Monty? I poke it out. Poke out the loaf. And then his supervisor comes over and he goes, something. And they're frisking me again. I got now at this point I have on just a white t-shirt, jeans, and Birkenstocks. I'm wearing my Birkenstocks. He goes, look under your shirt. Next thing I know, I can't even remember exactly what set me off. But he tells me to turn around. So I took off my white t-shirt without thinking. I was like, I took off my shirt. So now I have jeans and I'm chest naked at the airport in Edmonton. I take off my shirt. I throw it on the ground. I go, what the do you want to do, man? What do you want to do? What do you want to do? What more do you want to see? He's like, sir, da, 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 da. I said, sir, you said you were going to, pat me down. Pat me down. Give me the pat down. Like I'm there. I bugged out. I'm surprised no one videotaped it, and I'm surprised surveillance didn't put it on. But I was just like, yo, leave me alone, man. Like, yo, you're frisking me. If you're gonna touch my groin, like I want to enjoy it too. Maybe I bone up. How would you like that? While you're frisking me at 4:45 in the morning, maybe I bone up. Maybe I brick up real nice and real proper. Maybe you get to see what the dingo is working with. You know, if these guys want to frisk you for the sake of frisking you, why not enjoy it? Have a good time with it. If they're frisking you, let's frisk. I say, you want me to pull my pants up? I would have unfolded the loaf. Anyway, I put my t-shirt back on. I got through security. I mean, flying is tough, man. I had to go from Edmonton to Toronto. Flight was delayed. When I flew from Toronto to Edmonton, flight was delayed. And then when we landed, it was probably top 5 worst turbulence ever. And then you start going, I'm hearing that a lot of planes are crashing, but there was no problem. Baruch Hashem. And I made it safely. Baruch Hashem. And I'm just fortunate to be healthy, to be safe, to be podcasting. Fortunate for you guys to be watching. Fortunate for you guys to be listening to the I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast, the world's most disruptive podcast. And what a time to be podcasting. I mean, last week was a show of podcasting. These 2 Tate brothers, Andrew and his brother, I don't know what his brother's name is, Doofy. And I don't know much about Andrew Tate and his brother. Brother got the ill hair plug job. Got the ill hair plug job. It looked like it's stapled into the top of his head. Andrew Tate and his brother, the big head with the fake hair stapled in, glued in. I don't know what he got. I see better wigs on Real Housewives than what this guy has. But I think he went to Turkish Airlines, got his whole dome. God bless him. But I'm going to tell you something. Tate brother number 2, you're the quiet one. The other brother is the one with all the allegations, or maybe I don't know about these guys. But Tate brother number 2, your plug job looks like. You guys talk about all this success and all this money. You need to sue the doctor who put them plugs in your hair. It looked crazy. And I have nothing against a plug job. Go plug up. But if you're going to plug up, it shouldn't be the first thing we noticed. And I never seen you before, but the first thing I noticed is your looked like it was like, I don't know, you had Gorilla Glue and then hair on the top of it. Just saying. But these podcasters, man, they'll sell their asses for clicks. Literally. I don't know what's going on. Theo Vonn has got kooky Candace Owens on, and you might as well take like a pro talking slick dick anti-Jewish conspiracy theory nonsense wannabe Hollywood. And Candace Owens, you could say what you want about her. She is not stupid, and she's got the gift for gab. And Theo Vonn is like, with his mullet. This guy interviewed Trump. Then you got Stephen A. Smith. He also had on Candace Owens. I'm like, why is anybody platforming this? She got her own platform. Why are you talking to this just to get people to watch? Candace Owens. And then these Tate brothers, they did the rounds. They're with these two goofball Hodge twins. Goofy mother. Two goofy mother that, like, you know, like, I don't know, they do like push-ups. They got like soft muscles. And they were there with Andrew Tate, and they're there with this other dude who's this guy Ian Carroll, who's another slick. All these guys just like, I'm gonna go on your show, you come on my show, and they know that if they come on each other's shows, it's gonna make more money. But at what cost? And then you got these other two guys, these full send dudes. I don't know. I don't understand it, man. It's just like, people will literally do anything to get people to watch their shows. And I get it. Money's good. Money is nice. Everybody wants money. You get first class seats. You get the best hotels and all that. But at what point do you go, nah, I'm good? But they're all a bunch of little scumbags. They're just a scumbag and come on my show. And we'll come on your show. And it's just like you hoe yourself out. Hoping, praying that other people are going to watch. These two Hodge twins, and they go, oh, we're America first. America, they got their heads stuffed so far up Trump's ass, except for everything but Israel. They hate Jews. All these, Ian Carroll, Candace Owens, these Hodge twins, these two Tate brothers, they're like, oh, we can't talk about the Jews. All you do is talk about Jewish people. All you do is talk about Israel. All you do is obsess over Jews and Israel. And they're like, well, you can't. You think you're sort of some sort of rebel? Because you're like, oh, you can't talk about the Jews. We're going to talk about all you do is obsess over the Jews and Israel. Come to Shabbat dinner. Any synagogue will have you in. Any Chabad will have you creeps in. Candace Owens, you two goofy Hodge twins, Ian Carroll, Full Send, Theo Vonn. You're so curious. Go to Shabbat. Come to Shabbat. I'll hook up a Shabbat for any one of you mother. Go to Chabad. Loving people. You got questions? Go talk to some Jews. Why are you going on Joe Rogan? These people are so obsessed with Jews, so obsessed with Israel, yet they don't talk to any Jews or any Israelis. Don't you want the real article from the real thing? There's so many diverse opinions, thought leaders, IDF soldiers, people in government, not in government, in Israel, people with real life experiences, Hodge twins, Ian Carroll, Full Send, Theo Vonn, Candace Owens. You're obsessed with Jews. Dan Blazarian, Dick Stain, Dan Blazarian. That wannabe Hugh Hefner scumbag. All you guys are obsessed, so curious about Jews and Israel, yet you don't talk to anybody Jewish or Israeli. Why? Ask anything you want. There's plenty, and I ain't talking about me. There's plenty of smart, entertaining people you can have on your platform. Ask them anything you want. You'll get so many different answers. You'll get so many different points of view. You're obsessed with the Jews. You're obsessed with Israel, yet you won't speak to any. Losers, Trump. Yo, he told you what was going to happen. He told you what was going to happen, Columbia University and these universities. He said, you f*** around and you find out. That's basically what he said. He said, you want to keep placating, you want to keep playing games with these terrorist supporters, these terrorist sympathizers, these terrorist fanboys and fangirls. We're going to squeeze you real nice and real proper. And Columbia University, you just lost $400 million. $400 million. That ain't nothing to scoff at. $400 million, that's a lot of money. Because you can't get control of your university. And $400 million is probably not as much as you're getting from other places, but you just lost $400 million. And I say fantastic. I say great. It should have been happened. It should have happened months ago. Cadaver Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, you wouldn't do it. You couldn't do it because you're worried about the same people that threaten to boycott my shows at the West Edmonton Mall in Edmonton, Canada. You give these people so much more credit than they deserve. These terrorist supporters. These bum-ass barnyard white girls gone crazy. That's what it was at Barnard. White girls gone totally crazy. Cosplaying kooks. Harassing, taking over buildings. Get the out of here. And these schools are talking to these lunatics. These schools are having conversations with these lunatics. If I was running one of these schools, I say, yo, you're in the library, you're in the study lounge, you're wherever you are. We're going to give you 18 minutes. 18. It's a very lucky Jewish number. We're going to give you 18 minutes to get the out of the school. You don't leave the school, we're going to smoke you out. We're going to smoke, we'll start throwing in cherry bombs, stink bombs, and all that. Okay? Then if you don't leave, we're going to come in there with the big dogs, ruffs. We're going to arrest you. We're going to zip tie you, and we're going to bring you downtown. You're going to be hanging out with Luigi Mangione and Puff Daddy. We're going to have you at the Tombs. Okay, we're going to arrest you, little. You like Luigi? We're going to have you right next door to Luigi. We're going to zip tie you. We'll take you for a nice little bumpy ride downtown on the West Side Highway, and you're going to be right there with Luigi and P. Diddy. That's how we're going to deal with you, little. And he told them, Trump said, yo, to any of these little scumbags on these campuses that are terrorist supporters, terrorist sympathizers, any little hand jobs that are supporting terrorists and in America on green cards, student visas, you're going to get it first because you're easy targets. You're here in the United States on a visa, acting stupid. This Mahmoud Khalil, allegedly he's got a wife who's 8 months pregnant, and you're harassing students. You deadbeat dad. Glad this got this out. Apparently this Mahmoud Khalil, who's been harassing people at Columbia University, he supports this terrorist organization and that terrorist organization. They vaporized him. ICE, they came in there, they arrested, and they revoked his green card. And I say, fantastic. This is great. We got to set an example with this. You think when I was in Canada, this is Canada, I was spitting, acting nuts. I'm following the rules when I'm walking around the West Edmonton Mall, and that's in Edmonton. You're in the United States. You're a Syrian national, screaming and yelling, organizing illegal protests, illegal encampments, illegal takeovers of one of the most prestigious schools in New York City for over a year now. And you think there's no consequences to that, Mahmoud Khalil? You dumb. Where's your wife, Mahmoud Khalil? Allegedly, Mahmoud Khalil has a wife who's 8 months pregnant. Where's your wife? You dum-dum? What are you doing with your pregnant wife, Mahmoud Khalil, all this time? You should be working, trying to make some money, not scare students at Columbia University. Good. I'm glad they kicked you the out. I'm glad they kicked you. And you know what? There has to be consequences to your actions. He was at his Manhattan apartment when ICE and DHS, Department of Homeland Services, I know this. Agent Don Self, Special Agent Don Self, Prison Break, Season 4. They arrested him in his apartment, which belongs to who? Columbia University. Can you imagine having the gall and the audacity to be in an apartment that is owned by Columbia University and you're telling other students where they can and can't go on Columbia University? People are like, oh, it's freedom of speech. No, it ain't. Maybe you didn't see Khalil Muhammad. Maybe you were too busy chasing around Jewish students in New York City. Maybe you didn't see. There's a new sheriff in town. His name is Dick Stain Donald Trump. He's not playing that. He told you what it is. Days of cadaver Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and, oh, we're all that. We're not eating soft serve ice cream. We're eating hard ice cream. Out the thing. Trump ain't eating soft serve like cadaver Joe. He's eating pints of Ben and Jerry's. With the spoon and all that. You got the nerve. I'm disruptive. But I'm telling you, when I am in other countries, when I'm in people's homes, there's rules and regulations for another country. You think I act the way I act in my own house when I'm visiting somebody? No, I don't. There's rules and regulations. You're not from here, Duke. You're a visitor from here. And you're telling people where they can and can't go in New York City, the greatest city on earth, or the former greatest city on earth, or the city that was once considered the greatest city on earth. But how great can New York City be when we got bags like Khalil Muhammad running around New York City telling Jews where they can and cannot go? Good. I'm glad that happened to you, and I hope more people get kicked the out. I hope more people get arrested. I think it's fantastic. There's ramifications to your actions. What else is going on? The other day, when the Knicks were playing the LA Lakers in LA, good game, overtime game, Knicks lost. Knicks are, we'll be fine. But 8 points down, I believe in the fourth quarter, while a fan took a shot. I think he won a car or $10,000 or $100,000, a lot was going on. LeBron James decided to approach Stephen A. Smith, who, like I said, for some strange reason had on that hand job, that Jew hater, Candace Owens. I don't know why. I didn't listen to it because I don't give a what that bitch has to say. I used to listen. Occasionally, I would hear her out. I was like, oh, she'd have a different point of view. But once it's Jew this, Jew obsession this, Jew obsession that, and where's your man at? Where's your man? Who's your man, Candace? Where's your man and who is your man? Karma's a mother, Candace. Kooky Candace. I believe she's got 3 kids. Karma is a mother. She's so anti-gay, anti-this, anti-that, buckled up, tight Christian. You haven't said anything about Syria. I'm not going to go into what's happening. You did a little one line about Syria. Miss Christian Candace. Miss, I'm just asking the questions. Where's your husband? I'm just asking the questions. Can I not ask a question? Let's see what they say in the comments. That's what she did. She talks all that shit. She goes, let's just see what people say in the comments. Now she's on a quest to free Harvey Weinstein. Karma's a motherfucker, Candace. But the other day, Stephen A. Smith was at the Laker game, sitting next to Larry David. And I don't even need to contextualize this. Stephen A. Smith, like everybody who covers the NBA, has been critical of the Bronny James experiment, like I have, like everybody has. Everybody has said that he's obviously not ready to play in the NBA, which is great. He's in the G League now. He's averaging 22 points, which ain't, let me tell you something. You could say, oh, it's the G League. The G League is this far from being in the NBA. There's the NBA and there's the G League. G League ain't overseas. G League ain't NCAA. G League is the G League. You could put anybody from the G League anywhere else in the world and they'll get down and get busy. Don't, if you're in the G League, you're something. Even if your dad got you in the G League. Everybody has said that the only reason why Bronny James is on the Lakers G League team is because his father's LeBron James. Hey, I don't have no problem with it. Greatest player of all time, arguably. One of the top 2-3 greatest players of all time, arguably. He's LeBron James, 40 years old. He could potentially win MVP of this season if he played enough games. He's in the discussion. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is the real MVP, obviously, and Joker is the MVP, but LeBron James has played. He's LeBron James. I don't have to explain it. He's LeBron James, who one person in the NBA currently said to me, the fakest guy in the NBA. Somebody once said to me that LeBron James is the fakest guy in the NBA. And when he said it, I had chills running down my back because he said it like he needed to get it off his chest. Anyway, Stephen A has been like, just stop this, pull the plug, this needs to stop, yada, yada, yada. And LeBron James decided to, I'm sure he's got his phone number. He could have talked to him privately, could have talked to him in the tunnel, could have talked to him anytime he wanted to get to talk to Stephen A. Smith. But he went up to LeBron James and apparently he said, keep my son's name out your mouth. Don't talk about my son. That's my son. And it's like, what did you expect, LeBron James? What did you expect? You brought this on him. And a couple of weeks ago, you said, he don't care. He can take it. Bronny doesn't care. And I know you're just trying to be a dad and there's no playbook on how to be a dad. And we're all flawed dads. Even the greatest dads ever are flawed. And your intentions are great. And he's obviously got great kids and a great family. But yo, he's a big boy now. He's a big boy now. What are you gonna do in a game if somebody hard fouls your son? You gonna be like, yo, that's my son. That's my son. What the f*** you doing? You've never stepped to anybody your entire career on the court, but you're stepping to little Stephen A. Smith. You have never stepped to anybody on the court. Ever. Not to say that it's hockey. It ain't hockey. It ain't the NFL. But now you're stepping to Stephen A. Smith. Here's what I have to say, Bronny James. Now's your time to show up. Because the Lakers, they need you to show up. You're their second round pick. And whether you think Stephen A. Smith has been shitting too hard, whether you think LeBron James shouldn't have said what he said, he shouldn't have approached him, he should have approached him privately. This is a situation, Bronny James. Your dad's out. The Lakers are a walking, wounded group of players. They've been playing really good. They got spanked by the Celtics the other day. Hachimura out. Jackson Hayes has missed time. Luka's hobbled, still coming off that injury. Dorian Finney-Smith, I think he got an ankle. He's banged up. It is your time, Bronny James, to show and prove. You've been in the G League. You averaged 22 points in the G League, but you have been looking like. Every single time you get on the court in an NBA game, you look terrible. You inspire me. I'm like, yo, I could be out there. They could give me 5 minutes. I could finally meet my dreams and goals of playing in the NBA. Put me in for 3 minutes at the end of a game. Because Bronny James looks like somebody's doing him a favor by putting him on the court. Bronny James literally looks like somebody is paying somebody to get him, like Make-A-Wish situation. No disrespect to special needs or Make-A-Wish, but that's how Bronny James looks when he's on the NBA floor. And like I said, 22 points, G League, that's real. Not many people could average 22 points in the G League. That is real, but that's the G League. Now it's time to step up and be a man and show everybody, show Stephen A. Smith, show your dad, show your mom, show all the Twitter, social media, show everybody who's been so critical of you that you belong. So your father doesn't go out there and catch an assault charge. Bronny, you want your father to wind up in jail for beating up Stephen A. Smith? Now's the time to keep your father out of harm's way. He's this close to catching an assault charge in front of the whole world, Bronny James. 22 points, G League, cool. This ain't the G League. We didn't draft you into the G League. We drafted you to the Los Angeles Lakers. Now it is your time. Here's another thing that's wrong with the NBA. Oklahoma City Thunder, Denver Nuggets played on Sunday. There's no advertising for the game. And we watch it all. Okay? They played again last night. Oklahoma City Thunder, Denver Nuggets. You got the two MVP candidates, Shai Gilgeous and the Joker. No one's talking about it. People are still talking more about all the gossip than the actual games themselves. And Adam Silver, that's one of the big problems. And listen, you can't fix the fact that Shai Gilgeous, as ill as he is, he plays for Oklahoma City. You can't fix the fact that Shai Gilgeous, as ill as he is, he kind of doesn't have a really great personality. Joker, he's got a fun personality, but it's in short bursts. You know, with the accent and all that stuff, his personality is that he doesn't have a personality. Donovan Mitchell, this is this guy who could literally run for president. Got that kind of personality. Cleveland, they're killing it. Jayson Tatum and the Boston Celtics. Jayson Tatum's talking about why he isn't the face of the league and his resume speaks for itself and he's done this, that, and the third. Jayson Tatum, I'm going to tell you something. You're never going to be the face of the league when you play for the Boston Celtics. The only people that want to see the Boston Celtics do well are people from Boston. You guys are not a beloved team. I don't need to, this isn't personal. You know how I feel. I don't with you guys like the rest of the country. The only people that like Boston Celtics are Boston Celtic fans. That's just the way it is. And Jayson Tatum, you're sick. You're 6'8". You're a top 10, top 5 player in the league. You got the most wins since entering the NBA. You are either in the finals or winning finals. Even though you didn't win MVP of the finals last year, you're sick, but you're never going to be the face of the NBA because you play for the Boston Celtics. This is the way it is. The NBA is in a transitional period. I mean, Cade Cunningham and the Detroit Pistons, that's a team to watch. But it's sad when people aren't talking about the actual games as much as they're talking about the actual bull and the actual gossip that's associated with the NBA. Anyway, I'm done. It's I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast. Tell a friend to tell a friend about the I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast. Tell a friend to tell a friend that the I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast is on YouTube. Subscribe, rate, review, wherever you're listening, wherever you are watching. Miles, Jordan, a.k.a. the Bleach Brothers, a.k.a. the Dust Brothers. Take me at it with something real nice. Take me at it with something real loud. But most importantly, end this puppy with something real funky. I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast. I'm out.
I Am Rapaport Podcast.
Yo, YouTube, subscribe, rate, review. Ask a question. Leave a comment. We see it all. We read it all. Ask me a question. You got a request. You got a rant request. You like something, you don't like something, leave a comment in the comments and I will do my best to respond.
I Am Rapaport Podcast.